Okay, thank you, Anne. So indeed, I have the pleasure to introduce you to Thibaut Dehem from 87 Seconds. So I'm myself Julie Kreut and one of the students at Le Wagon, surviving here. And so Tibo, thank you for joining us because I know that you have a part-time in Paris and here. You have 2 offices here in Europe. So, but it's really interesting because your profile is more like an entrepreneur, a real entrepreneur. You have done Solvay here in Belgium and also something in Singapore, like an MBA or something?
No, actually it was just an exchange program. So it was more about party and culture exchange.
Well,
okay, whatever.
Good learning too.
I'm glad you introduced me this way.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome. So, how did you come up with that 87-second concept?
Okay, so for first, hi everyone. So I'm Tibo. I'm from 87 Seconds, like she said. Like Julie said, I'm glad to be here at this as this Q&A, and like they say in French, so it's a question and apéro. So feel free to ask any questions, and I'll drink the apéro, I guess, right? Usually you asked me just before if I'm used to this kind of setup. I'm not. I'm more of this back office guy, right? So I'm not the talker and the speaker which is on tour every week. So if something is unclear, also please feel free to raise your hands and ask questions, right? So then you asked me about
so you're coming from a very deep managemental background, and then you jump into the startups pretty early because you are young, right?
Yeah, I'm 27.
27, here
you
we
don't
go.
ask, but I can tell you.
Yeah, okay.
So yes, so I've been studying here in Brussels, part in Singapore, also been for a while in India. And I guess that's just the classical parcours of any youngsters today. And then I've been out for 1 year bicycling around the world.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later.
Okay, I guess that's something special. And then I worked for 1 year in one of these big companies, actually the biggest private company in the world. Most of you might not know, but it's called Cargill. It's a giant in the food business, right? Trading grain. And the fact is, I think it's a very promising company because it's so big, because it's so challenging, because it's based in the US, right? And so everyone in the business school was telling me, okay, go for it. It seems cool. And it was the most disappointing experience in my life, right? I think most of the people, I think just anyone after university has what we call the post-university depression, right? And at Cargill, that was, for me, it was even bigger than that. Like it was big disappointment because it was not what I was looking for. And I came at the very moment where, in the trading business, it was in the downturn, like the deepest downturn we had since 10 years. So they were laying off most of the people, and above all, they were freezing all the projects, right? Okay. So you came in as a youngster, very ambitious. You want to work, you are dynamic, you have energy, right? And you come in, and then they tell you, okay, everything is frozen. You cannot do anything. Just do your controlling job and stay there, right? And actually, I'm glad this happened that way because I think that accelerated my job out to the next step, which is launching my own company. Right?
Yeah. So, okay. But how did you came up with the idea? And
okay, so I think for most of you, once you feel like you want to do something else, you want a job out, you start looking for and getting interest in the entrepreneurship world, right? So you start talking to people, going to events like this one, like whatever, and you get to meet people, right? And then eventually you may plan to launch a project with a co-founder. It happened 2 or 3 times with me, but they were small projects, and I think they were not viable ones, and so rapidly we killed them. And
after how long did you?
After 2-3 months, we had
pretty fast.
We had this we had one project was called Night Nomad. I don't know, Marc is not here, Marc Lenné for those who know him. And yeah, it was B2C. It was very difficult to launch with Horeca restaurants and stuff. It was not viable. And then at the end, I got to meet two incredible people, which are the two Olivier, and which explained me that they have actually their own business, and they both of them, they're serial entrepreneurs. And they told me they were trying to make a video, an explanation video for the business, and it was a mess. It was a mess because the creative you're working with usually doesn't have all the skills needed for the explanation video, which is having a good voiceover, being good at design, being good at animation, and above all, understanding the briefing of what your client actually wants, right? And they just launched me on the idea of saying, hey, there might be something here we can do better. And then eventually I worked for about 3 to 4 months preparing the project, making all the market analysis, making the mock-up wireframe, and you know how it's going.
So the 87 seconds, and we're going to talk about the name too, because that's an interesting one. So what you do is like demo videos, like explaining a product or a company or kind of things, like it's an animation, basically,
right.
most of the time.
That's
because
right.
I saw that you propose also to have interviews on the set. But it's pretty costly. I saw that the first price like 2K, right?
Right. Yeah.
To start with, and then 7K something for the best product. So it's quite of a budget for 87 seconds.
It's quite a budget when you look, I think, at other forms of communication. But whenever you start with video, I think we are really the budget producer of quality videos, right? And that's the way we position, and that's why also we are transparent on the prices. And I think you won't see any other video production agency which is showcasing his prices on his website.
That's true.
And that was part also of the inception of the company of innovating on the value proposition we were giving our clients. So you were actually mentioning the name, right? If any of you needs to choose a name, what I recommend, there are a couple of advices out there, but the one I think after a while we value the most is that your name needs to, it's a good thing to have your name as a promise to your clients, right? So when we say our name, 87 seconds, people know that somehow we'll get something through in 87 seconds. It's catchy, and they know we'll get their message across, which is the final thing, which is the reason actually why people come.
So 1.5 minutes. Does that mean that you guys did some survey about that? Like, what's the best? How long can you catch somebody on the screen?
Yeah, so depending on the customer and what he wants to hear, I've been giving different pitches out there, and sometimes I explain that I've been making a PhD about video attention span and stuff like that, and that it drops out after it, and the customer actually seems interested and believes me. I'm in front of a tech enthusiast audience, so let me tell the truth. So for first, we were looking for a catchy name, and you know that it's difficult. What's difficult when you're looking for a name, of course, is to find a domain name with a .com.
So
preference.
85 was already taken. Oh, okay.
87 was taken, exactly. Yeah.
Like from 1 to 87.
Yeah.
So 87. So
very
like,
sad
really?
story. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, well, why not then?
Yeah. But it's actually, it's a good name also because in every single listing at fairs and trade shows, we always on top, right? Because of the alphabet, right? Which is also a good advantage.
Okay,
kind of stuff,
because of the number, then you get first before the alphabet.
No, but okay, it seems stupid, but when you're doing marketing, you're looking for just any visibility, right? And okay, it's part of the game. So, and also I think it's a good name because very recently I see that a big video production from Australia we believe they copycatted us because their name is 90seconds.tv.
Right? Here we go.
So
for the same price, watch out. Okay, so we here, you know, at Le Wagon, we're learning codes and all that to build up our own startup. So, did you learn any code in your life?
No, I didn't as such, right? Because I've never been following classes, and I wish actually I did. I think something that absolutely need to be integrated in the classes. Even in high school, I definitely think it's something we need to learn, and seeing also the shortage of developers, and we all looking for developers. That being said, producing code is not the core business of 87 seconds, right? We mostly looking for designers and motion design, which is another scarce resource. Though, so if any of you is mastering After Effects, he can gladly see me after the talk. So no, I wish I could code, but from what I see, also if when you start coding, I know I could not stop, right, building the code. So I think it's a good as a manager of a startup, and there's so much thing to do right now. I'm glad I cannot code, otherwise I know nothing. The management part wouldn't be moving forward.
Yeah, and so do you have any advices for most of the time an MVP, a minimum viable product, is made out of a video, actually, just a video to show something that doesn't exist yet, and then to get the attraction, also for crowdfunding and so forth. So do you have any advices for young entrepreneur to make a synopsis, a good synopsis of 87 seconds?
Okay, sure. If you come see us on the team, we have like we are specialized in the briefing, so like the way to structure and to transform your communication, whatever communication, into video communication. So, for instance, you will always want to finish the video with a call to action, right? Because part of the deal with the video is that it increases conversion rate. So you want to take the email address or having to look another video or whatever, right? That's a small piece of advice. Maybe a bit more general advice for startup. I think the advantage of video compared to other communication support is that you can somehow, animation video, you can somehow lie and make promises that you haven't been fulfilling so far, right? So I'm talking about features you haven't done. I'm talking about the vision you have of your product, right? So you can. I've seen some very good videos, especially in the States, because I think they tend, to they're
really
not scared.
pushy, yeah.
Exactly, they're really pushing, and they're not scared to tell the people what's their vision and how they see the world, even though they're very far from it, right?
So you think we should do the same, like be super pushy, like in the American way?
A bit more, but European style, because of course, the cultural difference are somewhat different. Yeah, so something that would be too impressive wouldn't be as credible in Europe, right?
Speaking about cultural differences, are there any between Belgium and France? You're working with both countries.
So yes, indeed. So we have maybe a quick word. We have offices in Brussels here, where we have a project management team and a production team with all the creative team. And then we launched 2 years ago a team in Paris, which worked out pretty good. They're 5 people right now, and Paris is an incredible market. I think they can be twice as big as Brussels, even more. About differences between Paris and Brussels.
The way you approach things, subjects, or clients, the way they approach you, or are they more demanding, or?
No, I think first thing is we usually have a bad idea of French people, because when we go down vacation, the only women we meet is the one at the RER, and
we in Brussels,
and she is not always sympathetic. But I completely changed my mind when I started working with French people. I think they're awesome. They're really awesome, and they give a really good vibe to the team. So maybe difference for approach with clients, or what you mean?
Yeah, approach with clients. That's a good one. If we want to expand our market to France, any advice or how to be successful?
No, I think from what I actually have never really been prospecting French clients, but from what I heard from the team, it takes somewhat more time because it's more of the Latin culture, right? And here in Brussels, we know we are the most Germanophone of the Latin and the more Latin of the Germanophone, you know how we say it. So it takes some more time to establish a connection, but then you can work on a long-term relationship. That's how we live it so far.
So on the side, you had a project for quite some time, which is Ustro. Yeah. But you dropped from that project. I know it's kind of a sensitive.
No. I told you. Any question?
No. Open. So what happened? So first, what's Ustro?
Okay. So before being here in Village in Brussels, we were in ICAB in Etterbeek. And there I got to meet Quentin Nickmans and Thibaut Dehem. See, Quentin Nickmans has been through Le Wagon in Paris also.
Good for him.
Okay.
In 2 weeks.
Cool. But he's a really nice guy, and I'm not saying it in front of the camera for real. And actually, that's how I started working with Quentin and Tibo, because they were working the offices next to mine, and then we had this tremendous idea with Thibaut Dehem. So he is the founder of Fotolia. I don't need to explain what's Fotolia. And we had the idea of making the new generation Fotolia, right? So it was based on what we call parametric images. And the idea was to actually have a full library like Fotolia, but with your color, so specially made for you, and that you can where you can change values. So, for instance, if you have I don't know someone holding a ball, you can change the writing, you can change the color, and so it was kind of the smart images, right? Mm-hmm. It was a brilliant idea, and just loved it. So when you start living and dreaming a project, you just go for it, right? And that's what I did, and I think it was something very different than from what we were doing with 87seconds, which is more of an agency, and Ustro was more of a SaaS product. So I just go. We just launched the company with Tibo, and he offered to build it within eFounder structure, which is also very appealing. They have nice teams in Paris, in Brussels, and they have the experience when it comes to SaaS project, right? Okay. So that's for the inception. Yeah, and then and then you dropped from there because you were managing 2 companies. It was too much for you? Maybe? No, I was not managing. So I quit 87seconds operationally, right? It was still my company, and my colleague Philip, which was the first employee, became he was already, but he became also the manager and the managing director, right? Okay. So what happened with Ustro? I guess that's going to be your next question. So as I told you, it was a very ambitious project, and we had a nice team. And the advantage of working with eFounder is that it's a startup studio, right? So you have financial means, you have team means, and they want to hit hard, they want to hit fast, and they want to be ambitious, right? And I think we've been a bit, with a view on the project right now, my vision is that we have been a bit too ambitious, and we wanted to compete with the Fotolia and Shutterstock and the other stock images, building a $1 billion image bank, which was a bit ambitious in 1 year time, compared to the Fotolia, which took about 10 years. And so it was we invested a lot of time, a lot of energy in it, and when you need to know, when you join eFounder, you make a promise that within 1 year or 1 year and a half, the project need to be launched, right? Okay. Which makes sense because it's already pretty long for MVP. And launch, but not break even. No, launch, and then eventually, you raise fund and you come out of the parenthood, they call it, right? And so after 1 year, we realized also that the project was not commercially viable, and the technology was pretty good, and we patented the technology and so, but it was not commercially viable. And so we, the team was also kind of not...
How did you figure that out, that was not viable?
Because when we onboarded the beta users, they were still not seeing the value of the product, right?
Okay, they didn't understand the concept.
Yeah, there were not enough assets too, and the way to consume them was not appropriate yet. Okay. And I think, the whole team wasn't really motivated again, and when it comes to that, I guess that's where the CEO needs... he pays it, and I guess it's natural. I think I was aware of what I was engaging myself when I joined eFounders, and that's the way. It's an experience, and I'm living with it right now, and I'm glad I still have a...
If you have a new project, would you go back to eFounder, or did you find the experience too hard, or maybe too...
I can use my
demanding?
joker. No, I guess.
Well, I don't know. We should ask the audience.
No, I guess you. Okay, no one would fall 2 times in the same hole, right? So,
yeah. Okay. But
I would just do something different, but I do not regret.
It's always a good experience, anyway. So now I would like to talk about your world tour biking, and so you had a promise is that to meet and interview a lot of entrepreneurs along the way. So why first, why? And then what did you get out of that?
Okay. It's actually quite simple. I was just graduating, and I was just looking for something wild, and I didn't want to start working straight away. I think I was aware that it was the only time you could envision something like that. And one evening with a good friend, so Christophe, hello Christophe, we just dreamed of making a world tour by bike. We heard some other people making it, and we just 3 months after that we just left from Brussels, and we went for 9 months around the world. I think it was more than 14,000 kilometers through the southern tip of the Corn of Africa in Dakar, and then from Colombia to Peru, through Japan. That was my dream, going through Japan, which is pretty crazy country also, and then back through Asia and the Silk Road. Yeah. Now it was, I think, so why just looking to do something, something wild. What I get out of it was your second question. So for first, just fun. I think it's enough in the world, just fun. And then also we wanted to have a project, so we built up this project to meet up with entrepreneurs around the world and to write bi-monthly news articles for L'Echo, a newspaper L'Echo here in Belgium. And so actually it was the first time that I approached entrepreneurship, pretty much. And so I just get to discover a new world, which is you can build your own job. And
the vision was very different from one continent to another, or even one country to another. It was very different from Japan from Africa to Japan. I mean, it's a lot of worlds.
In 9 months, we've been through more than 25 countries, something like that. So it may seem slow, the bike, but it's actually, we used to say it's the perfect speed, because you get the time to talk with people, to get to meet, to discuss, to enjoy the view and stuff like that, what you don't have in a car, and at the same time you're actually traveling pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. But the differences between cultures and the aspect of entrepreneurship between these countries, and anything interesting to say about that?
Just for the culture, it's incredible the way you can change. And I remember, for instance, when we changed from Peru to Japan, we landed in Tokyo, and we were still kind of jet lag. And my friend started to talk to the Japanese guy at the police station in Spanish, right? So the kind of thing that can happen at the time. And then when it comes to entrepreneurship. And we've been giving a couple of conferences when we got back, but it was very difficult to analyze it because actually the entrepreneurs we've been meeting are very, very different from one country to another. So when you go, for instance, to Latin America and Africa, you get more what we call people that doing entrepreneurs because it's it's a living for them. They need to do it, right? It's a lot of SMEs and people that are self-employed. It's not a choice, right? When they're born, they know they need to, I don't know, start sewing their own clothes and stuff like that. Whereas in Europe and the US, it's actually an active choice. So
it's more a lifestyle.
Exactly, it's more a lifestyle.
So, okay.
Okay, then you have many differences, but.
Any advices that these people gave you along that trip? Each interview actually was our last question. I remember that. Okay, so what would be your advice to anyone who would like to start his own company? We had many of them, like, don't start alone, the classical one. No, go for it.
But I don't know. I guess the one that's coming over and over again is just, okay, just go for it, act, and don't listen to what people saying. Take only the energy that people can give you, the good advice, and then leave out all the rest and just go for it. Then I guess it would be my advice today.
Okay, thank you very much, Thibaut. Thank you. It's not over yet because now it's the time of Q&A. So if you have any questions, any, yes?
What's your biggest fuck up?
What's the biggest?
Okay. No, I guess. Okay, I guess when when you look at the figures and when you look at the fact, okay, I've just been kind of wasting 1 year of my time at a startup that didn't launch and that will eventually launch now without me because the e-founders, they continue the project. So I guess you can call it a fail, right? And I guess it was kind of a fuck up because, of course, I would have done things differently right now. Right.
With the experience.
Yeah, with the experience, sure. So right now I'm back at 87 seconds. That was a tricky move, right? You leave for 1 year for another project and then I'm here, I'm back, right? The godmother is back, right? Because of course, I think you have
with
a very
more experience, so that's good.
Okay, you can say that. Maybe next time I explain, I can bring you with me. I think it was. You have a very special connection with the people that you employ as a founder, and so the whole team was still the same, and so we had this connection, and so socially it made things easier. And then the way I came back, I think I was very careful about telling people, okay, guys, I'm back and don't have a job, and I do realize that I've had my experience, but that there is so much to do here with 87 seconds because we've known a growth like that, and I want to help. Though, so the 3 first months I positioned myself as consultant, and I told them, okay, anything you want me to work on, let me know. I'm here to help. I don't have any operational obligation in the company, so I'm here. Okay, that was the message. I'm here to help. And you know what I'm good at, processes, whatever, I can help. And then slowly, I guess, I got back to business. And the big advantage right now is that I'm not involved into the project management and commercial part because I was off for 1 year. And so I can keep myself busy on the more growth strategy. And so we're working on a couple of different stuff. We have opened 7 different positions last week, and we're opening offices in Lyon, in Geneva, and then we want to go all across Europe. Okay, let's see what happens. But okay, so it's cool. I think we have an ambitious plan. Okay, it's a good question. It's not something that has come like right now. Okay, we're gonna launch offices in different places. We've been opening offices in Paris 2 years ago, and that was cowboy style, right? We're looking for someone, and then we just go for it. The only criteria we had is that we said, okay, we need to have someone which is local, right? So and who fits the company culture also. So we all, I think,
and who has the network.
And who has the network? Yeah, exactly. That's part of the local stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
So when we say local, is that living there for more than 10 years, being there, having gone there to a business school and stuff like that, right? And so the Paris office with and Violaine is there, the manager, has worked out pretty good, and I think it has been kind of a prototype, and we call it a franchise prototype, right? Even though it has nothing to do in terms of legal status, it has nothing to do with the franchise. It's a franchise because it's kind of attached to the headquarter, and the way of collaborating with the headquarter is very particular. You need to work by distance with the creative people. All the campaigns and the stuff we're launching, we then deploy them in a second time in the franchise. And building on this experience, right now we are trying to to process all that. And so we have set up here in Brussels what we call shared services. I guess it's also part of my experience with the startup studio. If founders, right, the idea is to have shared services and then to be able to deploy very fast different franchises in different countries, right? And give them a lot of help, right? The main thing is give them help, give them tools, so we take care of the AdWords campaign in terms of marketing. We give them a lot of templates. We give them an agenda when they open a country. So what are the first steps, the first month, and then how do you need to make your PR stunt within the second month, stuff like that, right? So I think the more you build your business and you process it, the less people dependent it becomes, and then the more people can focus on the actual core business and on the customer focus side and whatever. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. So you structured the whole process, your whole business, to be able just to export it in an easy way. So you're looking for managers, or you're looking for a team of developers, designers on the spot, or it can be done out of Brussels or any other place?
No, so the production stays in Brussels, and so it's part of what we call the shared services. And then, so locally, it's basically a super team motivated. We call them account managers now. Okay. Account manager because we're not actual sellers. So we go to customers and then we give them advice, and then when it turns out, we very naturally start with the briefing of the video, and they take care also of the project management part. Okay. So no sales. We don't have sales. So in terms of storytelling, okay, storytelling is a buzzword, of course, and so to me, storytelling is more the synopsis. How do you structure your message and how do you bring it to your audience? And in my opinion, there is no one recipe. I'm not going to tell you you need to make this, or you need to add humor, or you need to add, I don't know, real characters, whatever. I think the only way to make it work for storytelling is authenticity, right? You need to be authentic, and you need to tell something that is behind your company, right? It can be, I don't know, your company culture. It can be your process. It can be whatever, but just you need to tell a story with what you have in the company, and every single company has a story, right? Even in the most boring businesses, I'm sure you can find a story to tell, how the company grew up, how its inception, or whatever. But I'm sure you can find storytelling. And if you don't, I can help you with it.
And then the second question was interesting with the humor, because that's tricky as well. Humors regarding countries and Latin, German.
Yes. Okay, so I'm not a copywriter. I'm not the guy making the humor of the video, right? But I know maybe something I can tell you is that we tried to launch in London right after Paris. It was not organized as we are doing it right now, and it was a failure because we took someone also from Brussels, which was not pure native and local. So it was a failure because of that, but also I think that our videos and the way we communicate here on the mainland was not as appropriate in terms of humor comparing to the British humor. So I think next time we go, we try to move to London, we'll rethink a few our concept and the way we approach storytelling and humor. Right. So of course there are cultural differences, and if you go to Germany, I think it's another way also of building your message. So we may hire someone which is local.
Any books that you would recommend, or anything that come up of your mind, or a TED Talk, or I don't know, something that would be useful?
If you want to read about what I've been talking about, the franchise business model, and is this book. It's the E-Myth.
Yeah, E-Myth, very good. Yeah.
Okay, I forgot about the author.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can look it up.
And more than that, no. Okay, I've just been reading the book of Peter Thiel, but I guess everyone has been reading it. Found some interesting concepts about startups and stuff.
The E-Myth.
I think it's good to be reading, especially when you think over about the structure of your organization and about your company.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, good question. First thing I want to say, I think, is don't look for complicated ideas, right? It was Jérémy Levan from Sunrise who said last time, don't be the Foursquare where you need to evangelize and build your own market. This is ridiculous. You will never succeed. So find a simple business where you know there actually is a business, and try to innovate somehow. There are different ways of innovating. You can innovate by technically and make a new. For instance, for us, we could have done a video using another software, right? You can also innovate in terms of design. We could and of techniques. So we could have used, I don't know, like graffiti style video or whatever. And then you can innovate by the business model, but the value proposition you're actually offering, and that's what we've done with the company. So it's a whole collaboration platform that takes the process and makes the video production way more efficient, because it eases the interaction and the communication between the creative team and the customers, right? And then also we had this transparent pricing and everything, so it was all part of the value proposition. So I think you don't need the idea and you think that the idea is a lot different from your competitor. You just need to have a look at a simple business with a different angle, right? And so I knew nothing about video when I started, and I think that was the cool thing, is that I could have a look at it with a new eye, right? And have a look at it, everything stuff that I read about video, I analyzed it and had a look, why are they currently doing it like this, and how can we do it differently, right? And I think if I would have been someone from the video business before, I might have what we call the curse of knowledge, right? Which you know, and so once you've been taught how to process and how to make the business, you won't think differently, right? So yeah, I think about the idea, just start with a simple idea, and the guys actually at eFounders, they're really good at it. What they do basically is, think of any job within a company, of any let's say any job from the company, and they try to reinvent it within their vertical, which is the SaaS business. So if some of you know eFounders, what they're doing, okay, is Pressking, we're gonna reinvent the PR, Mailgen, we're gonna reinvent the mailing system. I think the new project, Hy-Vee, so we're gonna reinvent the secretariat at the entrance of the office. So don't think too far, just something you show there is a business, by preference B2B, right? Because it's easier, in my opinion, to sell and to market the product. Yeah. I think you need time, right? You cannot, if you want to look for a co-founder, if you just want to jump in another project, you absolutely need time, and you cannot tell the people you're going to work with, look, I've seen all this, and it's going to work this way. Let's go. You need him to build up his own reflection and to make sure that he appropriates the project. So sure, it makes time, and it took me about 4 times, just the time to quit my Cargill, my company. So exactly.
Good question. Ah, there is one.
Very, very
Over
last
there.
one.
So by the way, the E-Myth is by Michael Gerber.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
E-Myth revisited because it was so successful. Then 10 or 20 years later, they rewrite it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
No,
it's,
no, no.
it's a good one.
So it's good. I like that as a last question. So it's part of the value proposition. We can give a deadline to our customers, so it's that price, and we build it within 3 weeks to 1 month because we need your feedback. We have several steps. We actually have 4 steps where we ask your feedback, and within 1 month we can produce your video. There you go.
It's really funny. You should look at their website. Very different
you.
styles, and so it's a good end, no?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah?
good end.
You don't regret, right?
No, that's totally. I agree.
To come over. So here we go. I have some food, drinks, booze, and for everyone here. So enjoy, and thank you for being here with us at Le Wagon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.